crafters, and welcome to Creative Moments by G. I'm G, and it is Technique Tuesday. Today's technique is creating a card using a silhouette background. Oh, you are going to love this. So let's head down to the crafting table and let's get busy. These are the stamp sets that we are going to use. We're going to use earthen textures, and oh my goodness, look at those beautiful ceramic pots. It makes such a beautiful silhouette stamping. And then we're going to bring in an oldie for our second card, Ocean Front. Oh my goodness, this landscaping turns out just beautiful. And for our sentiments, we're going to go over to Wonderful Thoughts and grab some sentiments from here. So let me show you what this card looks like. This is silhouette stamping. We're going to put an oval right here in the center of our mat, and then we're going to use our blending brushes to blend around it, lift off that oval, and then stamp our silhouettes. It creates such an interesting card that I think you're really going to love it. So the first thing we want to do is bring in our mat that we're going to use. Because I don't want to get anything on my table, I'm going to bring in just a piece of paper to go ahead and work with. And we are going to use our Stamparatus. Now you can use any stamping pad that you have, but I want to make sure that it gets nice and dark. So the first thing I want to do is grab this mat, cut out the size oval, or maybe you want to use a circle, maybe you want to use a square, doesn't matter. Now my card I'm going to turn landscape, which is different than the card I showed you. So I need to go ahead and put some repositional tape on here to get it to stick to the front of our card. Just going to grab us some tape, get this centered. Try to make sure you have the same border all the way around. And now we're going to use our blending tools to put some beautiful colors around our oval. Now I've decided to use 3 colors that I feel complement each other. We have Calypso Coral, Old Olive, and Pretty Peacock. Now we're going to start with the lighter color of Calypso Coral. Make sure that you clean your blending brushes, and what I use to clean our brushes is just a scrubber mat. You open it up and then you can scrub your blending brushes to get them really nice and clean. So we're just going to tap a little bit, and I'm going to start on the oval because I want this to be light and I don't want any blobs, right? So we're just going to start right here. Just going to go off with our Calypso Coral, going around my oval. Start back on the oval and blend it out. And we're just trying to highlight this area. Now you can always go back over it, make it a little darker if you want. And when this area gets real messy, go ahead and grab your sticky notepad and just take off one of those, and that way you have some place to put your finger. And now I'm going to bring in the Old Olive. And I'm going to go over a little bit the Calypso Coral. Just keeping it light. I'm going to go over to the other side. Okay, and finally, I think I'm going to need a little bit more here. Finally, we're going to bring in the Pretty Peacock. Going to turn this. It's best to turn your paper so that you can get a better grip of it. I'm just going to, this will be very dark, so I really need to be Very light in the pressure that I use. Okay. And now, so that we don't get our hands sticky with color, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my take your pick tool and just lift that up and peel it off. And look at that. Look how pretty that is. Now we need to bring in our stamps. Now I want to go ahead and use the stamp apparatus like I said. So I'm going to make sure that my fingers are not dirty. I'm going to put this right in the corner. Make sure that it's all the way in the corner. And I'm going to use just the smaller pot. So I'm going to put this about right here because I'm going to use part of this over here for my message. So I'm going to do one pot in front of the other. So I'm going to put this one right here. Okay. And I'm just going to bring in my memento. Not to worry. Good thing we have it on our stamp apparatus. Now, you can see this white line right here, but I'm going to show you a trick to get rid of that because we don't always want to use a solid stamp. Sometimes we want to use something like this. And so how do we get rid of that? I'm going to show you in just a moment. Okay, now I'm going to clean this off really well because I need to add it back in, and I'm going to just put it right here. Now, I don't want it to stamp over this one, so I'm just going to put my Post-it note about right here. Okay, we're going to lift that up. And now I'm just going to move these over. Since we already have this in here, I want to go ahead and stamp our branches coming out. I'm going to turn this around so I can get some higher plants going on. So let's just go ahead and turn this around. And now let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment right here on the front. And I'm going to show you how to solve this problem that you can see the white through there, even if you don't have a solid background. But let's go ahead and stamp our message right here. And we're just going to stamp "Thank you for everything." And let's bring in our Knight of Navy. So we wanted to do some silhouette stamping using our brand new stamp set. But as you can see through that, and that defeats the whole purpose. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to bring in a color that's very similar to that. And I'm going to bring in boho blue. And I'm just going to color those pots. And look how pretty that is. Solves the problem. Looks like you have a background on it, but it allows me to use the pot that I wanted to use. And look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? And now we're just going to add it to the front of our card. Now we've decided to use Pretty Peacock as our matte background, so let's go ahead and add that. Just going to add this right to the front of our card. Now make sure and stay with us because I have another card using our Daisy stamp set that I think you're really going to like. Now look at that. And because the card is white, we really don't need to add anything to the inside. There's plenty of room to write. Love this technique. So let's move on to our second card. And this card, we are using that oldie but goodie stamp set, Oceanfront, and we're going to use the landscaping rocks with the reeds and the grass. So we need to go ahead and bring in our mat again that we're going to use. Let's bring in our oval that we're going to use, and I want to show you another tip. If you decide to use something that is cut out and it's very difficult to get the mat that you want, you can use this Post-it removable labeling tape, and you can make it as big as you want. We actually created this mat with 2 pieces of that tape. Now you could put 3 pieces, and then you could cut out your star, whatever object you want to use to color over as your mat, but this works perfectly. We're going to have this listed below our video. I want to remind you that all these wonderful stamp sets will be listed below the video. If you're interested in recreating these cards, you can just purchase them right through that link. So let's go ahead and do some blending on this card. Now the colors we're going to use for this are Daffodil Delight, Pumpkin Pie, and Boho Blue, one of our new colors in Stampin' Up. So we're going to start with the Daffodil Delight. We're going to start on the actual oval and then go outside. Just lightly blending around the oval. And once again, if it's too light, you can always come back in and create a darker blend later on. So now let's go ahead and bring in our pumpkin pie. And I'm just going over my Daffodil Delight just a little bit. You can turn this. And remember, bring in that Post-it note so your fingers don't get dirty, and then you transfer that to your white card. And now we're going to bring in our Boho Blue. We're kind of mimicking the ocean, the blue, and a beautiful sunset. So I'm just going to turn this. Now we're going to take your pick tool again because we don't want our fingers to get inky. Just lift it up. And look at those colors. So pretty. You can come back in and do a little bit more yellow, the Daffodil Delight if you want. But next we're going to come in with our rocks. Now we're doing our rocks. They are so pretty. So let's go ahead and bring in our memento. Now, these particular stamps aren't supposed to be exactly black all the way. They're kind of different levels. So we're just going to put that right here. Stamp it and hold it. Okay. Now we're going to bring in our other rocks. And now we're going to use our little filler grass for that area right there. We're going to bring in our larger grass, and we need to make sure and use our Post-it note to mask off the area. So let's go ahead and just put a little bitty mask right here. Look at that, so pretty. Now we're going to put some over here. So we need to mask it off a little bit. And we're going to add one more set of reeds. So we're going to just get this masked off. And look at that. Look how pretty that looks. Now we just need to come in with our sentiment right here in the center, and we're going to use Night of Navy for that. Now we just need to decide which mat we want to use. Do we want to use Pumpkin Pie? Or do we want to use Boho Blue? I think Pumpkin Pie. Take a moment right now and let us know which one would you have chosen? Pumpkin Pie or Boho Blue? I think I'm going to go with the Pumpkin Pie. Did I make the right decision? Comment below and let me know. So let's go ahead and add this Pumpkin Pie to the front of our card. Now you could set this up on dimensionals if you wanted to, but I think we're just going to go ahead and lay it flat. Now, if you think this is still wet, another tip is to grab a piece of computer paper and just press on it. That way you don't have to worry about smearing the colors. And there we have it. Once again, this is made on a white card, so you really don't need to put another mat right here. You have plenty of room to write your message. Let's look at our silhouette cards, and you'll need to let me know below this video which is your favorite. So here are the two cards that we made today. I'm really loving these containers, these ceramic pots. But now remember, I showed you this one. This is a top fold, and this has the larger pot on it. I don't know if you like the two smaller ones or if you like the tall and the medium one. And I said I was going to show you this beautiful one that we used for the daisies. Now look at that. We added some rhinestones. We also cut a little bit of the top flap off just to give it some interest. And we put a little border here. We added it into our embossing folder just to add some interest. And there you have our silhouette cards. We absolutely love reading your comments, so take a moment, leave us a comment, and remember, if you were inspired by these cards, we sure would love a thumbs up. Well, thank you so much for spending your time with us. We loved creating these silhouette cards. Well, let us know your thoughts below in a comment, and please subscribe to our channel. Go out, make it a fantastic day, and thank you so much for joining us on Technique Tuesday. Bye-bye.